Hear me? Can I get everybody to take their seats so we can get this party started? Come on in, let's get seated. You know, it's up to you guys. It might be easier to just do it now so there's not the commotion. And nice to meet you officially. I'm Valerie.
Val, nice to meet you. I'm Joe.
Vigliotti, right?
Yep, Vigliotti.
With a name like Giovagnoni, I tried it.
I got it. Completely understood.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Welcome to the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce Annual State of the County meeting. The Chamber is an independent, nonprofit organization founded in 1924. We are celebrating our 99th year of promoting our members, the local business community, and Carroll County itself as a great place to work, live, and play. And as of today, we have approximately 720 businesses who are members. That's pretty exciting. This State of the County annual event is a great example of only one of the numerous community events that we coordinate and host for the business community and the citizens of Carroll County. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Valerie Giovagnoni, and I have had the privilege of serving as the Chamber's chair of the board throughout this past year. This will be my last official meeting as the chair, as we pass the gavel later today during this meeting to the 2023 chair of the board, Mr. Brady Chapman of Penguin Random House. So, our fearless leader, Mr. McMullen, is under the weather and can't be with us this morning, but I will, in his honor, ask you all at this time to... Yes, thank you, Katie. Please silence your cell phones. Of course, I would like to thank the Board of County Commissioners for being with us today. They are the main event, and we couldn't do this without them. So you can wave when I say your name. We have President of the Board, Ed Rothstein from District 5. We have Joseph Vigliotti from District 1. Kenneth Kyler from District 2. Tom Gordon from District 3, my favorite district, thank you. And Michael Guerin from District 4. And we do have quite a number of other elected and appointed officials with us today. And of course, I haven't had Mike tugging on my sweater saying, ooh, ooh, ooh. So don't be shy if I forget your name or you're not on the list. First, we have Marcia Herbert, President of the Board of Education. Also from the Board of Education, we have Donna Savigny and Patricia Dorsey. We have with us the Superintendent of Schools and Carroll County Board Member for the Chamber, Dr. Cindy McCabe. We have Westminster City Councilwoman Ann Gilbert. We have Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese. Now don't be shy, and I can't see a thing. Did I miss any of our elected officials? Okay, we have Steve Whistler with us. And what is his position, Mr. Rothstein? What is his? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Steve Whistler, also from the Board of Education. Anybody else? Okay, now that embarrassing moment is over. Also, we've got some previous chamber board members with us. The president of Carroll Community College, Dr. James Ball. Immediate past chair, Steve Aquino from Aquino Financial Group. Although I don't see him, but I can't see anything. So Dave Bollinger, who was shy about sitting next to the sheriff, from Barnes Bollinger Insurance. Wayne Barnes from R. Wayne Barnes Life and Long-Term Care. Steve Wantz from Carroll Community College. And Suzette Cobalt from Farmers and Merchants Bank. Whew. Okay, now, would the current board of directors of the chamber stand to be acknowledged? We've got a great group that we're working with. We have Andrea here, we have Lisa, we have Jim. I can't see anybody else. All right. Let's see. Oh, I would now like to ask the members of Leadership Carroll class of 2023 to stand and be recognized. Amazing. It's a nice big group. If you would like to be a part of next year's class, which starts in September of this year, please contact Becky at the Chamber office or fill out an application, which is on the Chamber's website. You can also call Mike McMullen about being in the class of 24. We already have applications for next year's class, and it will definitely fill up. All right. I, of course, want to express my appreciation to Lynn Griffith, Executive Director of the Carroll County Arts Council, for making this theater available for us today. Relationships are critical, and the Chamber has a long-standing relationship with the Arts Council, as we've been holding this event here for over 10 years. And we also have the tradition of having the Carroll Booth Challenge here every year. So please welcome me in joining Lynn Griffith to the microphone.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome very warmly to the Carroll Arts Center. If you've never been here before, an extra warm welcome, and please join us again for something fun. Extra fun, extra fun. Sorry. I would like to start by saying thank you to the wonderful city of Westminster for hosting us and maintaining this gorgeous theater. I would like to thank the Board of Commissioners and Jeff Degetz and Jack Lyburn of the county for their continued loyal support, and the state delegation for all that the state of Maryland does to support arts and culture in Maryland. Last year, the Carroll County Arts Council welcomed more than 50,000 people to arts events in Carroll County, over 21,000 people at Peep Show alone. People from 9 states and 187 unique zip codes traveled to this county, spending money in our municipalities and discovering all that Carroll County has to offer. According to the Department of Commerce, for every $1 spent in arts and culture activities in Maryland, $2.20 are generated in other economic activity. That number increases to $4.63 if the patron is from out of state. Art matters. In FY23, we continue to expand our outreach throughout the county, and we will invest $6.32 per resident. We are second only to Baltimore City in investment per resident. So thank you to the City of Westminster and Carroll County for helping us make that possible. Most importantly, art helps build a sense of common purpose. We are working to support this community and all it has to offer. Our sense of community is what makes Carroll unique. Thank you all for helping to make Carroll a wonderful place to work, play, and visit. Enjoy your day at this fun event.
I feel like I need to say challenge accepted. And the reason you don't go off script is because you forget people's names. And when Lenny Mills stood in the back, because he's a current board of director, I had that So thank you, Chamber website, for being up to date, getting my brain all back. And Lenny, I'm so glad you're here today. Okay. So our sponsors are very important to us, and they allow us to offer free events like this to our members and community. Today's corporate sponsor is M&T Bank, and that sounds like a lot of fun. And our sponsor's message today will be delivered from Mark Blackston, M&T, Vice President and Business Banking Manager, and from what I hear, a really fun guy.
That is so true. I am a super fun guy, and banking is super fun, especially right now. Anyway, but thank you for the kind introduction, Val. We're sorry that Mike couldn't be here today. Hope he's recovering quickly. But on behalf of M&T Bank, my colleagues here from Carroll County, truly appreciate the opportunity to sponsor this really important event and fun event. And sincere grats to our newly elected County Board of Commissioners. We're really looking forward to your comments later today. As Val said, my name is Mark Blackston. I'm a Senior Vice President of M&T Bank. I'm really proud to lead a group of folks that service businesses, small businesses, their families, business owners throughout the county. But wow, 2023. It's hard to even say it. Like, I feel like we just did like Y2K like a minute ago, you know, but 23 years later, a new year, a new set of challenges, a new set of opportunities. But first, the challenges. I mean, if we tune into any news program or we open up our phones to any news app, we're going to be bombarded with all the headwinds predicted for 2023. Everything from rising interest rates, yes, I said it, labor shortages, supply chains issues, election drama, polar vortexes, and maybe even the dreaded R word that we keep hearing a little bit about. But let's turn that off, let's flip that news program closed, and let's focus on the opportunities, because that's the stuff we can control with our own actions. So I recently read a LinkedIn article entitled Top Resolutions for Business Owners for 2023. And thought it might be cool to share a couple of those. In case you haven't made your own resolutions, it might be a little to-do list for you. But when I was reading it, it was actually a very long list, so which is great, but you know, I decided to narrow it down to like maybe 10. Well, actually just 5. But just a couple things I thought I'd share this morning to leave you with. So number 5, as a business owner, or really anybody, take time to learn something new. Perhaps, lifelong learning is really important, but perhaps listen to a new podcast, read a leadership book, a LinkedIn article, take a course at Carroll Community, McDaniel College. But find time to do something. Step out of your comfort zone, learn a new skill, learn a new topic, something that's of interest to you. Number 4, and this is a really important one, is give back to the community. Not all goals are financially driven. Find something you're passionate about and invest in your community. There are hundreds and hundreds of nonprofits right here in Carroll County that do some pretty amazing work. Obviously the Arts Council, but many of other ones who I see here in the audience today. So take time to volunteer, join a board, join a committee, sponsor an event, and invite your employees and your friends and family to go out and support some activities that are happening out in the community. Number 3 is promote your business all year. It's a very, very competitive world out there, so market. Promote your brand, promote your team, promote your products, promote your solutions. I mean, just be visible. There's so many platforms for it, just use as much as you can. Number 2 is join a targeted network group. The Chamber is obviously a really good one, but there's so many other ones that you can do. You can be part of committees. But networking groups are a great way to make new and rekindle old connections, raise your professional profile, grow your brand, and really it's a great place to exchange ideas and knowledge among each other. So take time to join and connect in 2023. And number 1 is give your business a financial checkup. We all know how important it is. We focus on our health, right? So when we want to go check up our health, we go to the doctor. If we have a problem with our car, we have a problem at our home, and you're not a DIY person, you call your mechanic or your contractor. It's the same is true with your finances. Don't put that on the back burner. So schedule time to meet your tax advisor, or maybe even better, your friendly and fun banker. Yeah. But look, there's a lot of great banking resources right here in Carroll County, and quarter 1, 2023 is an excellent time to do a self-checkup of your business finances. So business owners, I recommend that you reach out to your banker, set up time to talk, and even better yet, maybe make it a personal visit. If you have a trusted banking advisor, that's great. Go ahead, give them a call. If you don't, or you simply want a second opinion, you already deal with us at M&T Bank, give any one of us a call. And I'll embarrass my colleagues real quick. They don't have to stand, but if you could just raise your hands, there's a couple of us peppered around here. There we go.
They look fun.
They're fun. They're more fun than I am. But call any of us. We're here to help. That's what we do. We live here. We work here. We shop here. Our kids go to school here. But we're part of the community. We want to help everybody out. So, Val, many thanks again for the opportunity. Wishing everyone a happy, healthy, and fun-filled 2023. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. We really appreciate your continued support of this chamber and all the fun that happens here. I would like to thank the film crew from the Carroll County government for filming this morning's event. If you are interested, way to have no transition, Mike. So thank you for filming the event. Pause. If you are interested in supporting and sponsoring a chamber event in 23, please reach out to Mike McMullen. You can see Becky today. There are several sponsorship opportunities available, and just like Lynn and Mark, you'd have a nice opportunity to present, what you have and think to the rest of the group. So, all that being said, are we ready? Let's get the show started, right? The Carroll County Chamber of Commerce is pleased to present the 2023 Annual State of the County Address. Our commissioners will each briefly speak, and then they will be available for questions afterwards. I am pleased to introduce the President of the Board of Commissioners for 2023, Commissioner Ed Rothstein, who will address you now and then introduce his fellow commissioners. Okay. Commissioner Rothstein.
Okay, so good morning. The way it's going to work is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do cleanup with what I have to share. Basically, a 3 to 5 minute, what's on our mind, where are our priorities going into 2023. I do want to share, though, how busy we've been already in 2023. Last week, we attended the Maryland Association of Counties Winter Conference. Yesterday, we had a meeting with Senator Cardin. Today, we're here with you and pretty much all day with you. Tomorrow, we have a joint meeting with the Board of Education and the Board of County Commissioners, along with participating in the Board of Education staff meeting or their open session tomorrow evening. Thursday, we have an open session ourselves. So in other words, it is not a Tuesday or Thursday type of a role. It is an everyday 24/7, and bottom line is we're here for you. I also want to share that I apologize, and then Friday, although it's not us, there is a legislative meeting where our state legislators will be meeting with the public in our county building at 3 p.m. If any of you'd like to participate or attend to that. Tomorrow is the swearing in of our new legislators down in Annapolis. And we're very proud to support all our legislators here in District 5 and District 42 as they're getting sworn in. But until tomorrow, we still have a delegate that's still with us today, and that's Delegate Susan Krebs for another 24 hours. So Susan, and thank you for all that you've done for our community. And what I'd like to do now, without any further ado, is welcome Commissioner Joe Vigliotti from District 1 to share a few remarks. Joe?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for always graciously organizing the events of this day. It is fitting that just beyond the threshold of the past, in the early days of the new year, the Carroll County Commissioners should stand before the public to speak on the state of the county. We step into the new year knowing that we face many challenges, such as funding the Department of Fire and Emergency Services and contending with unfunded education mandates from the state. We step into the new year knowing we face other ongoing challenges, the rising cost of providing services and the unending efforts to fight the sale of drugs and opioids. We also step into the new year knowing that nationally, we sometimes feel lost, as if home is somewhere far behind us. But it is through understanding where we are that we find the path that leads home. And Carroll County is home. Our values, our faith in God, our devotion to family, our patriotism as Americans, our love and respect for our home, our neighbors and their rights, our commitment to hard work, our recognition of history. These and more have provided us with a guiding constellation of lights. That includes a deep and abiding respect for agriculture, which is at the heart of the heritage of our county and from which these values arise and resound, and in which we find a vital and crucial component of who we are. We've already moved to continue agricultural preservation with preliminary preservation authorization for an additional 382 acres of farmland since taking office. At present, more than 700 farms comprising a total of approximately 78,000 acres is preserved agriculturally, with the goal of 100,000 acres still fixed firmly ahead of us. We remain first in the state for the number of acres preserved. Agriculture also remains our county's #1 industry, an economic powerhouse to this day. As I was reminded by J.P. Smith and Chris Hine, who are among those effective and crucial professionals who help with the program, every dollar invested in Ag Pres generates up to $2 in return. Agricultural products sold in Carroll County are valued at $110 million annually. Preserving our heritage also means protecting our history, and our support of the Carroll County Farm Museum is one example, demonstrates just how seriously that effort is undertaken, and so well carried out on a daily basis by Jane Sewell and the advisory board of the Farm Museum. History is, after all, so much of what we love about our home. And our love of home also means providing for the safety of home. We remain committed to continued implementation of the Department of Fire and Emergency Services under Chief Michael Robinson and the support of a combination volunteer and paid service system, modern, adaptive, and agile. This includes the creation of a vehicle fleet which will enhance and improve response and systems management, allowing command staff to more efficiently oversee and move between operations, allowing for immediate investigations, and the launching of medical chase cars to be staffed by paramedics who will be able to rapidly respond to critical patients, filling in gaps or reinforcing personnel at emergency scenes. Now, we've also purchased 4 ambulances, all within budget but ahead of schedule, and in the process saving $104,000 in taxpayer money. This matters tremendously when, last year, there were more than 23,000 EMS calls in our county. Additionally, the county continues to work with volunteer companies in municipalities and local communities with loans for the purchase of engines and ambulances. By June 30th of this year, we hope to have 88 members hired under the Department of Fire and EMS. After July 1st, we will seek to hire an additional 56. Now, on that note, the Department of Fire and Emergency Services is hiring and is a phenomenal opportunity to serve the county. If you are looking to join those brave men and women already serving, please visit the county's website or call the county offices for more information. Now, knowing the time is limited this morning, and knowing that I have 4 very capable and well-versed fellow commissioners, I hope you'll forgive me that I've touched on only 2 of the many important issues, achievements, and plans before us. Yes, the times are difficult, and yes, we face many challenges ahead. These will include hard fiscal decisions, careful prioritization, and perseverance. From this board to our administrator and departmental directors and throughout the organization, we have good people in place to take these challenges on. But there are also manifold opportunities, new chances, and wonderful possibilities. Even 1 month in, the present Board of Commissioners has attended to that promise through agricultural preservation, cooperation with local communities, respect for citizens through cost savings, pursuing public safety, and more. From 9 years previously on City Council through the recent campaigns of my first month in office as Commissioner, I've always held home close at heart. It is for love of home and all that home means that I have sought to uphold the privilege of trust that I've been granted. It is a duty that I do not take lightly. After all, the farm fields, meadows, gentle hills, streams, woods, and the small towns and communities that are nestled among them create a kind of patchwork landscape between which we make claims on time through the course of our lives. We understand the past, the present, and the future are an unfolding story, our part of the American dream. With God's help, anything is possible. After all, we are Americans, and we belong to Him. May God bless you. May God always bless Carroll County. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Vigliotti, and you are going to be last from now on because you have an incredible gift. And I'm crossing out all the things that are on my paper, so not to be so repetitive, but wonderful, wonderfully said. Commissioner Kyler, District 2.
And yes, I typically get to follow Joe, and a little disclaimer, he is a professional writer and professional. My background is site work construction. As Rhonda will tell you, most of my vocabulary is not acceptable for today, so bear with me. Good morning. I'm Kenny Kyler, the new elected commissioner for District 2. I'm happy to be here to participate in the first State of the County. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. First, there is still confusion about the new commissioner maps. The maps may even be tweaked slightly again this year. Essentially, District 2 is Finksburg, Hampstead, and the Manchester areas. While I technically represent District 2, and those are the voters that elected me, my responsibility is to serve all the residents and businesses of Carroll County. I want to say now and again at the end, please contact me. The best way is cell phone, 443-986-1458, either call or text, or email kkyler@carrollcountymd.gov. What have we done since the swearing in on December 5th? We've hit the ground running and conducted meetings, met department heads and staff, attended MACo's winter conference, met with the Maryland Municipal League, held a welcome session with other elected officials, and did other activities. The commissioners serve on 18 boards. We try to rotate so everyone gets experience on each. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to serve on the Carroll Community College Board of Trustees, MACo, the Maryland Association of Counties, the Transit Advisory Council, and the Veterans Advisory Council. As one of my fellow commissioners likes to say, and already alluded to today, this is a part-time job with a full-time commitment. I love Carroll County. I plan to use my experience from private industry and serving on elected community and industry boards to serve the county and its residents. There's a lot to learn. I will make every effort to do that quickly. I thought instead of describing specific areas of concern, I would focus first on the Carroll County as a whole. There are well over 50 departments, bureaus, agency, boards, and commissions. Some are fully controlled by the commissioners, while others are funded by our tax dollars with more self-control. Although some of these areas are more interactive with the citizens, businesses, and the commissioners, all are important and essential. Every county neighborhood and community are impacted by some or all. Probably the most visible, detailed, and time-consuming work of the commissioners is the financial management of the county. This includes developing, reviewing, and approving the budget, and of course, the follow-up monitoring of the finances. We can all talk about what is and what is not important, but what is funded and how it is funded truly shows the level of importance for each item. As a fiscal conservative, my wish is to fund the budget so that we serve the taxpayers as best we can without raising taxes. But it is hard to control the revenue. Real estate taxes and income taxes are the bulk of the county's revenue. Much of that is controlled by state and subject to inflation and factors outside of our control. I enter this year's budget process ready to look at the details, listen to staff about needs and places to save, and make creative decisions. What do the citizens of Carroll County want? What is the best for them? What are my priorities? It is hard to narrow that list right now. Hopefully, I'll get better at it. But here are some of the things to consider in no particular order. Safety, fire and emergency services, sheriff, state's attorney, the courts, emergency communications, public safety. Education, Carroll County Public Schools, Carroll Community College, the library, our relationships with other schools and colleges. Infrastructure, engineering, facilities, public works, road operations, landfill, utilities, broadband. Quality of life, recreation and parks, farm museum, ag center, ag preservation. We also need to consider all of the departments, bureaus, and agents that furnish the support to keep the county running. We need to also communicate with our towns and cities to make sure their needs are considered and included. Most importantly, elected officials need to serve constituents while ensuring that their constitutional rights are not violated. I hope we learned a lot through COVID. The over-control of government did not save lives. The word emergency does not give us great power. We are here to serve the people. Let us know when we do it right. Let us know when we are not so right. And again, please contact me. Cell phone 443-986-1458 or email kkyler@carrollcountymaryland.gov. I want to hear from you. Thank you for listening today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kyler. Commissioner Tom Gordon, District 3, Westminster.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I'd start us off properly with the state of the county with a typical tradition we've heard maybe once prior. Bear with me, it's early. Now, while no one's singing this morning, and I'm just kidding about even considering that opportunity, I would seriously like to thank you all for coming out today. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this morning. I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the Carroll Arts Center for hosting this event. It's been 35 days, 17 hours, 10 minutes, and 33 seconds since the 62nd Board of Commissioners has taken office. And while we were sworn in during the holiday season, the 5 of us have been working very diligently for the community we serve. The past 35 days we have already served as a microcosm of what the next 4 years will hold. We've experienced everything from opportunity, trials, and even loss this past month. We will forge ahead as the new year holds countless opportunities, and we will face the future together. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This quote is attributed to Albert Einstein. Perhaps the insanity is attributing the quote over and over again. While I do mention this quote, or should I say, why do I mention this quote? Our county on January 19th will turn 186 years old. She's a Capricorn, and while she and I share that distinction, she's a bit older than I. We as the county have been successful over these 186 years. However, we cannot continue to do the same things the way we have previously done them while hoping for different results. We must collectively continue to innovate and look for opportunity, and we shall. The new Board of Commissioners will no doubt bring some creative and innovation forward, so buckle up and stay tuned. While we have challenges ahead of us, from funding our paid fire and EMS to quality life and also funding education, these are significant goals and priorities for our county. Let's not make a New Year's resolution, but let's resolve as a community to work together and innovate and improve upon the rich history that the past 186 years has laid the foundation for. Tourism in our county is a wonderful opportunity to showcase the gems that we hold so dearly in this county. It offers residents, businesses, and visitors alike the opportunity to embrace and appreciate the wonders of Carroll. From rich historical properties to open landscapes to gems such as our Farm Museum, which hosts a wide array of events, including the Maryland Wine Festival, the Carroll County Veterans Celebration, our tourism is a strong integral part of who we are as a community. From historical reenactments at Union Mills Homestead to the Corn Roast, tourism is about community and economic opportunity. Our community strolls, our picturesque landscapes, they offer something for everyone. From our barn quilt trails to our 150 miles of cycling tours, to our parks including Piney Run and the Hashua Environmental Center. Our rich agricultural experiences, from farmers markets to tree farms to our wineries and bison, highlight our agricultural roots. We showcase the arts in our community, as well as our Main Street businesses and historic significance, from our involvement in the Civil War to President Theodore Roosevelt's visit to Westminster, to Whitaker Chambers and the Pumpkin Patch. While you're all sitting here today in the Historic Theater in downtown Westminster, it's the perfect opportunity to bring up a wonderful opportunity in our county. As some of you may recall, 26 years ago, an unhappily married Manhattan couple fled here pretending to be from a rural community. While Brad and Carol Sexton were fictional characters in the movie For Richer or Poorer, the opportunity for Carol was anything but fictional. Do you know what Burt Lancaster, Chris Rock, Julia Roberts, Tim Allen, and Richard Gere all have in common with Carroll County? Film and movie productions in our backyard. We've also seen films as recently as the movie Union Bridge by writer, director, and independent filmmaker Brian Levine in 2019. Brian is from Carroll County and featured Carroll as the setting for one of his productions. Main Street in Westminster was highlighted in a national commercial a few years ago. Our community is home to many crews whose names you've seen in credits, you just didn't know who they were, but just like you, they live here, and they could very well be your neighbor. Our county has a great deal to offer many unique production opportunities. When a production's looking for a home, let's bring them here to Carroll. Did you know that a portion of the crew from the former Netflix series House of Cards resides here? Trained crew and local individuals bring a potential workforce to our county in trained positions in the industry, as well as potential jobs for the overall area. Our county not only offers a workforce that could keep these jobs in Carroll, but also a strong presence of safety for productions and solid access to roads and required infrastructure needs. Productions, whether commercial, independent film, or large features, would help our local economy. And while these jobs are obvious outcomes, productions add a larger benefit via tourism. This includes purchasing products such as gas for transportation vehicles, food, electricity, building materials, as well as location rentals for shoots and more. Also, large-scale productions with celebrities bring in the public and can add to revenue for our local businesses and restaurants. It's time to take a look at this untapped area as an economic benefit to our community. Lights, camera, Carol. God bless our county, our state, and the United States of America. Thank you all, and I look forward to spending the day with Leadership Carroll. Thank you.
That was pretty cool, pretty inspiring too. Lots of things to learn. And fourth is Commissioner Mike Guerin, District 4.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Mike Guerin, and I am your new District 4 Carroll County Commissioner. And I'm really excited about the opportunity to serve you. And I, again, want to thank the people of District 4 for their overwhelming support. Mike did a podcast, I guess, with Commissioner Rothstein not long ago, and I was mentioning the podcast because Mike said he didn't know who I was and didn't know anything about me. So I'm going to take a second to say my family moved to Woodbine in 1984. I am a proud graduate of South Carroll High School. I know we have some other Cavaliers here. Yeah, come on. I know. There we go. College, 8 years active duty. Grad school, and then like a lot of people, you move back to Carroll County to raise a family. A lot of us did that, and we continue to do that. In the meantime, I was elected to the Republican Central Committee, spent 4 years on the Planning and Zoning Commission, been married for almost 27 years, 3 kids, and 2 of them are in the Carroll County public school system. So, thank you. Why do we live here? Why Carroll County? The answer is pretty simple. It is truly a wonderful place to live, raise a family, and have a business. Let us never lose sight of that. 25 years ago, when you tell people you're from Carroll County, they would just go, where? You know, where's that? Now people know where you are, and they want to live here, and why not? We have great schools, safe communities, beautiful rural landscape, farms, farmland, great neighborhoods, agricultural preservation like Commissioner Vigliotti highlighted, a strong sports tradition, 2 great colleges, and terrific attractions like Commissioner Gordon mentioned. But it's not enough to talk about what a great place Carroll is to live. It must be preserved. And I'm not the first person to mention that this morning. As commissioners, we can never stop asking ourselves, how can we make Carroll County better? What can we improve upon? And we cannot do it alone. We need to hear from you, and you've heard that as well this morning. We need to hear from you, the citizens of Carroll County, the farmers, the businessmen and women, the moms and dads, grandparents, volunteers, community groups, you, the taxpayers. Let us know what needs to be done and help us achieve those goals. Local government, and we actually heard this yesterday morning when we were speaking with Senator Cardin, local government is truly where the rubber meets the road. Communities all over this great country, as we speak, are waking up to that fact. They are realizing that local elections matter because local government has such a profound and unmatched impact on our daily lives. Local government will always work best when you are a part of it, and I thank you for doing so. I look forward to working with my fellow commissioners and the many dedicated employees of the Carroll County government to serve you. I believe that every, and I do mean every, county dollar needs to be spent wisely, and that we give priority to those projects and initiatives that reach and help the most people and the most lives. What is needed is a comprehensive overview by we, the commissioners, of all projects and funding priorities, and we will start that process in earnest next month when the budget cycle begins. Everything will receive a thorough review, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I say that now, but I may regret my words. Just in closing, the pandemic is over, and it's time to face new challenges. Some of those are daunting, and you've heard that this morning: looming budget constraints, funding critical initiatives such as the transition to a county fire and EMS department, which I will be personally taking role in as the commissioner representative on the Emergency Services Advisory Council, and I'm really looking forward to that. Possible economic recession, that's been mentioned as well. Costs are going up. The cost of personnel are going up. I've learned that the hard way last month. I think we all have. Everything costs more. It costs more to attract people. We've got a drug problem. We've got a fentanyl problem. You've heard me mention it before. It's a scourge. It's killing our young people. We've got to improve the compensation for the people that protect us, the police, fire, EMS. We're going to be working on that as well, because we need to attract best people, and we need to retain the best people. And we already have the best people, so we got to keep them. And we need to make our schools not just better, we need to continue to make them safer as well. So let us begin a new chapter in our county's history, and in doing so, create a vision for where we want to take Carroll County and where we do not. Everyday Americans are demanding leadership, a voice, and sound public policy. Public policy is sort of a term that's been lost in the last few years. Public policy, it's important. We as elected officials need to give it to them. I believe this Board of Commissioners is up to the challenge. We can do it, and it is our sworn duty to deliver. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And Joe Vigliotti's print is about 10 fonts, and mine's about 16 fonts. What you see in front of you is diversity with this board, which I really appreciate, the experiences that they bring to this board. One, the ability to learn every day, but also the commitment that this board has, and that number one commitment is to you. And that's what I think you've heard over and over again. First and foremost, thank you. And thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for putting this on, as always, to my colleagues of the past board, and thank you to this new team. And most importantly, again, thank you to you and the residents of Carroll County. Each year, instead of a resolution, I select a word or a phrase that guides and anchors my actions, unifies my goals, and encourages me to serve you better while maintaining that professional and personal balance. This year, that word is integrity. Integrity is a core strength that is first and foremost important to any military member or veteran. The VA describes integrity as act with high moral principle, adhere to the highest professional standards, maintain the trust and confidence of all with whom I engage. You generally hear that integrity is doing what's right no matter who's watching. Integrity as a leader is also focused on stepping up when appropriate and the courage to step down when needed. It is not to conform just for conforming's sake, but rather collaborate for the betterment of the decision-making. Overall integrity can never be compromised. I will always serve you with the highest integrity and believe that I am first and foremost a public servant. I'm not a politician, I'm a veteran. And to me, you're not a constituent, you're a community. My neighbors, my friends, my family. Nobody knows Carroll County better than Carroll Countyans, and the way we do that is through community. The overall message I want to leave with you today is that Carroll County remains strong and secure. Dealing with COVID has now transitioned to more about executing the federal and state funds that we've received. And we're working effectively and efficiently with a focus on the long-term benefits to that county. We're concentrating on areas that strengthen our county. Our finances also remain stable, due to part in strong fiscal conservative management that the county has, steady property tax assessment growth, strong positive change in long-term liability, and a robust economic development and employment growth. Economic development is strong with many successes across our county. By balancing growth and progress with maintaining all the qualities that make Carroll a great place to live, we know we will continue to be successful. We have experienced a lot of challenges, especially with the pandemic. I am proud of our service and accomplishments over the last 4 years. I believe the new leadership team will strengthen our commitment towards continued success. I would like to highlight a few of the successes and key takeaways, except I think Commissioner Vigliotti took them away from me. The Department of Fire EMS, the commitment of ag preservation. One thing wasn't shared, the landfill. You don't really talk a lot about landfills, but it is significant here in Carroll County. And what we've done recently is purchased 326 acres that surrounds the northern landfill to allow us to continue to operate once that's developed. These type of decisions will continue to make Carroll County the best place to be. None of this would ever be possible without you. You provide us with guidance and direction every day, whether you know it or not. You provide the priorities, ideas, and initiatives for us. As we move forward with county resources, our budget, and our services. For example, we have the strongest veterans program in the state. From support officers and transportation to establishing a state-of-the-art veterans home in Carroll County. This new almost $200 million home will be funded by the state and federal government and $0 from Carroll County. However, will give us the opportunity to provide the workforce of close to 200 people when all said and done. In conclusion, I'd like to recognize the importance of collaborating as a united voice. Carroll is privileged to sit at the table of many premier organizations comprised of businesses and civic leaders, and most importantly, sitting at the table with you. No one knows, once again, Carroll County but than you, Carroll Countyans. I'm always known for saying one team, one fight, and these internal and external alliances make us part of the conversation on issues relating to economic growth, job creation, workforce development, transportation, and quality of life. Together, we are stronger. These partnerships are an important strategy for the viability of our county and contribute to our safe and secure environment, economic strength, and once again, quality of life. On behalf of my colleagues, I'd like to thank you for the attention that you've given us this morning, and at this time, would like to open it up for some questions and answers. We have mics at the table. I ask my colleagues, when a question is asked, we will just repeat the question and then go from there. So, thank you. Thanks.
All right, so who's going to ask the first question? I see an arm.
My name is Becky Timms. I'm with the Rape Crisis Intervention Services here in Westminster County. I'm sorry I can't see, and I haven't met you yet, but the gentleman who was from the construction company, I've worked with construction companies before. I have a question. You had mentioned that the two largest income areas for Carroll County were real estate taxes and income taxes. Were the income taxes residential or business?
So were the income taxes residential or business?
All. Commercial, industrial, residential, and both the property taxes and the income taxes all reflect that. But like I did say, they're very much controlled by the state, not by us.
So would residential or commercial be, I mean, is there,
And I apologize, I can't hear the question.
Residential or commercial?
is there like a
For
percentage?
which?
Is there a percentage?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know that. I can get back to you with it.
Currently, the income tax has a ceiling that allows us to get up to 3.2%. Right now, we're about, I think it's either 3.02 or 3.03. And I know Ted's in the back somewhere will correct me whether it's a 0.02 or 0.03. The key to that also is we have not raised our income tax rate in probably close to 15 years. And that is something that's always discussed during the budget, work sessions on what to do about revenue, which is primarily the income and property tax. You also have recordation when you're selling homes, which is a much smaller amount. But that's going to be something that we're going to definitely talk about on, whether revenue needs to be increased through these or how to stay and within the means and provide the services that you deserve and we all deserve, staying within the revenue that we have today. So.
I guess to clarify my question more is not to raise the residential taxes and to keep the balance between farm and country. Is there a drive to bring businesses into the county to get that business and income taxes?
Is there a drive to
Bring businesses into the county?
Right, so is there a drive to bring businesses into the county? What I'll share with you is The short answer is yes, but there must be a balance in how we do that. There are the 8 municipalities, which are the growth areas, along with the Freedom area down in Eldersburg, which is considered a growth area. What we don't want to do is put things on top of things on top of things and just become other communities that we just don't desire to be. So there definitely is a balance in doing that. But we do know in order to get resources and money, you have to build in certain places. But that's why having town halls, having these type of events, having the ability to listen to you and saying, okay, this is what we want or this is what we don't want, where's the payoff, associated with that? And I'm dealing a lot of that down, actually we are, down in the southern part of the county, But, so that's the growth part. The other part is, do we balance that growth part with adjusting our revenue and our taxes? And I'm not one for saying I want to increase taxes, but it definitely has to be something that's discussed to then either take off the table or keep on the table in further discussions. And primarily we're talking about property tax and income tax. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Here in the front.
With the county taking over the EMS and fire, how are you all going to handle all the buildings that are actually owned by the individual fire companies themselves?
So with the county taking over the EMS and fire, how are you going to handle the buildings that are owned by the companies themselves? Did I get that right? Okay.
Sure, I'll take a swing at that. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to know real soon after I run into Rick Baker in the lobby. So what's interesting about our fire stations is they're really built like corporations. So everything in that fire station has been is owned by that actual corporation or that actual station, raised mostly with donations, like the carnivals and things like that. So my understanding is that and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that the equipment and everything in those stations will still belong to those corporations. But things obviously are going to change a lot with this transformation to a county and fire EMS system. We're in the infancy of it. It's just begun. I understand that Chief Robinson we're getting closer to maybe establishing some of getting the lieutenants he needs. But those fire stations, they're pretty amazing. I've been touring the ones in the southern part of the county, and it's an untold story in this county. I'm just blown away every time I walk into Winfield and Mount Airy, and I look at those people, the folks that are in there. Most of them aren't getting paid, and it's 2 a.m. or they're standing out someplace putting out a fire, or they're doing training in some really lousy conditions. So, but yeah, what's there now will remain with the corporations, is my understanding. But as we move forward, the county will be purchasing some of the equipment and trucks and things like that are needed to have that transition take place.
Yeah, just to add on to that, and that was well said, is that the CC Visa, the volunteers, are part of the equation and part of the solution. So, Commissioner Guerin being a part of the ESAC, as he shared, along with Director Michael Robinson, along with the partnership with CC Visa and the union at the fire stations, will figure out what is the best, next steps for the facilities. I don't know specifically any more than that at this point. So,
and I think if you look at surrounding counties, we're developing a hybrid system, and it's going to be in transition as it grows and changes. And we've had paid people that the county was reimbursing at least part of the monies that the volunteer fire companies were spending. But I think part of this move has to be, we were losing people. We had volunteers here who were paid in other counties, and we need to try to keep them here and keep them working here. But I know talking to different paid, different volunteers, different people running the individual stations, it's a transition, and it's hard. It's going to be interesting how it moves forward with the hybrid system. And I don't think for right now much equipment is in the works, but again, 10 years from now, as it transitions, it'll be interesting to see what does happen with it.
Right, and just to add on to that a little bit as well, you know, the fact that we're working on trying to build up a county fleet which will supplement our volunteers. You know, as everybody else has alluded to, it's a transitional combination kind of system. Chief Michael Robinson is doing a phenomenal job bringing that into fruition. And again, the goal is to make our system as agile as possible. I'd mentioned, for example, the paramedic chase cars that are able to respond as they need to various emergencies or to pick up where there might not be volunteers available. And that is not to say, you know, that's not the fault of the volunteer companies. Volunteerism is waning in this country in every area. And so we want to help reinforce the volunteer companies. We also want to make sure that we have people on hand to serve the citizens of the county.
Okay. More questions? Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy Yingling, Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center. Thank you all for being here today. So I really support Commissioner Gordon's idea of trying to find these uncovered gems of industry and opportunities within our county to grow. My question for you, though, is especially with different programs that are out there, industries that are out there, we're really reliant on our state to be able to create tax incentives, things along those lines to make that work. I know Georgia has a wonderful program where they bring in a lot of our film industry, but they're able to do that because the state gives them so many tax credits to make that happen. So how is this board proposing to leverage state resources and or work better with our state to bring those resources into our county? Thank you.
So let me take a first jab at that. First off, I was selected to be a part of the MACO, Maryland Association of Counties Board of Directors. There's a 16-member board that represents the 24 jurisdictions here in Maryland. We have opportunities to work together as a board on these type of initiatives, and you know, for me to talk to my counterparts down there, along with Commissioner Kyler, who will be down there as well throughout the legislative season, talk to counterparts and say, how are you doing things? What are your best practices? And how are you leveraging state funds if it's at all available? So that's number one, is having the ability to participate in things like MACO or other committees and associations, business associations in the region, in Baltimore and down in Annapolis. The other is, as shared, we just came back from the winter Maryland Association of Counties conference. The winter one is more focused on our colleagues working together from all the different jurisdictions. The summer conference is so valuable because it's when the governor and the governor's administration is in attendance, and we have the ability to have those conversations directly with the administration and the staff. So the Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Commerce, you know, all of those that, you know, we want to say, hey, if we had these type of dollars or if we had this type of approach, then let's figure out how to do it. It's not just a winter-summer approach. It is a year-round. I am so proud of our team in going after grants. I mean, it's amazing how they leverage grants all the time. But it really does come down to local government to state direct, local to business, you know, communities, and you know, and just going from there. So I'm giving you a very long answer to a very simple question. It's just not as easy as saying, state, give me this money. But those are ways to leverage the state in going after those type of monies. But definitely agree. So I don't know if anybody else has.
I'll just jump in behind that a little bit. In reference to the question, the comment was made regarding Georgia. And of course, Georgia has sort of become the East Coast Hollywood if we're talking about film. Maryland, a number of years ago, had an extensive tax credit for film productions. At some point, I believe it was under the O'Malley administration, that was cut back. tourism and the film office were sort of collectively put together, which of course shrunk that. Maryland, for a period of time, had a couple major films, Veep, House of Cards, which basically ate up all our tax credits in those productions. A lot of people have a tendency to look at those and don't realize all the additional purchases that brings to a community. Like I said earlier, it brings in, gasoline. If it's raining that day and you've got 800 people on set, you've got to buy them raincoats or umbrellas. You've got to feed everybody. One of the things we offer here, and we offer this in a variety of areas, not just film, but we offer safety. We're very fortunate to have a sheriff and a lot of our local law enforcement, all our municipalities that keep us safe. Baltimore City, several months ago, in the midst of a production, they were literally threatened and almost held up at gunpoint. So you've got major productions throughout our state that we can emulate those locations here. They don't have to be in Baltimore or other areas for some of these types of productions in this area. So we offer that. The other thing is we have to be proactive. As we've all said this morning on a variety of topics, and I mentioned earlier, we cannot continue to do things the same way and expect exceptional results. So be it how we're going to fund fire EMS, how we're going to fund education, lifestyle as a whole, we as a board are working to sit down and look across the entire gambit of not only our budget, but our entire view of how we accomplish things to take us past the next 186 years into the future. So it's a process. We're all collaboratively working together, and of course we need all of you involved as well, which is why we all ran and why we want you all to be involved in that process. But it's something that collectively we can accomplish. Thank you.
And Commissioner Rothstein mentioned earlier, our delegation has a meeting 3 o'clock on Friday. They'd love to hear from all of you with questions, with demands, with what they want to do. He also mentioned Delegate Krebs, and she has had our back for a number of years and will continue as a retiree, I'm sure. But, and one of the things she's mentioned that we need to take advantage of, they have different contacts than we do, and we need to take advantage of them getting some people to Carroll County that maybe we can't.
Yeah, that's really well said, and just need to put an exclamation point on that. We've got to continue, and we will show that partnership with the legislation in both District 5 and District 42, the Board of Education, all of those touch points that really are there for our community. Our Sheriff's Department, the Circuit Courts, the State's Attorney, all coming together to do those things that we are up there, on at the mic talking about, and that is safety, security, and quality of life. It ain't one or the other. It's all of us working together, but it surrounds you. So that was a really good point, Kenny. So, what else?
I see Mish.
Good morning. My name is Mish. It rhymes with leash, which I should be kept on, but here I am today. I am the Economic Development Director of the City of Taneytown. I'm very proud to be. We host about 1,000 manufacturing jobs up in Taneytown, and we're looking to increase that. But a great deal of our workers end up living in Pennsylvania. To somebody's point earlier, that means that their personal income taxes don't stay here in Carroll County and don't get paid to us in Taneytown. Do you have plans, or are there ways that you can support additional housing in Carroll County that's affordable for the people who work here, thereby keeping their income tax money here as well?
Who wants to jump on? Okay, so that's a tough one. I mean, the reality is there's no one direct right answer. We do have some less expensive housing, some appropriate housing for those that don't have nearly the incomes as others. That does exist here in Carroll County. Is it enough? No, and you're spot on by saying that. Should there be more? Well, I mean, there's got to be that balance. There's some folks that say, yes, let's put more affordable housing, or those that can live on a $45,000 to $55,000 salary and have the ability to have a house. But the challenge is when you're using that piece of property and you have the ability to build a $400,000 or $500,000 home, and then bringing taxes into the county, it's definitely a balance, because that $55,000 income cannot afford that $500,000 home. Even if it's a dual $55,000 income, they're stretched to afford that $500,000 home. So we get that. And there's no one answer to it. Working with the realtors, knowing where the markets are, is part of this. People will come to me and say, why isn't there affordable housing down in Eldersburg and Sexville? Well, there is. There is some. Is it a lot? No, but there is some. Could there be more? Well, of course there could be, but will there be? That's a different story. It's the property owner's rights on what they want to do in building on that property. And there's the balance as well, and I'll get off this in just a second. And that's the balance between property owner rights and the community rights, and we've got to look at it both ways. If something is zoned a certain way, then the property owner has those rights to build whatever he or she wants to build, with understanding what the community also, so it nests into the community. That's a challenge every day that we face, and you know that as well. But those are my 2 cents. Anyone?
Well, I could also add too as well, and Commissioner Rossi made some excellent points that, it does come down to the use of property. When a developer wants to put in a residential development, in conjunction with the municipality or with the county for that matter, what kinds of houses are there going to be? And this is also an important point, is that, with cooperation with municipalities and with businesses, to see what kinds of needs that they have for the employees that they do have. In addition to that as well, and the other interesting thing to think about as far as this is concerned, we can offer, the most affordable housing in the world. We can offer the nicest schools, the best sheriff's department. But I've run into people who live in Pennsylvania who they prefer to live in Pennsylvania. I've run into more than one of those who work in the northern part of the county who simply just prefer living in Pennsylvania. And so I agree completely with Commissioner Rossi that there has to be a balance. We have to see what needs that we do have, and then we also have to balance that with the reality of, well, are people living somewhere else because there's a lack of affordable housing, or because they really just prefer to live somewhere else? And these are all important things that have to be taken into account in that balance.
And I think one of the things I've heard in the past we need to look at hard is a residential property under a certain value, the taxes they pay don't support the services they get. That's true. But maybe we need to get developers to do more mixed-use stuff. I look at it, I hate to see our children and grandchildren living in Pennsylvania or another county or wherever. We need to keep them here. I've seen families where they start out in a condo and go to a duplex, and now I call them kids, but the 40-somethings are in a house I probably couldn't afford. So it worked to keep them here. And I think we've got to look at, even if we don't directly get the taxes from that piece of property, what other benefits do we get that make that worth doing?
Yeah, it's a great question. It truly is. And in the southwestern part of the county where I am, down in Mount Airy, we sort of have the inverse of that. People are living in Frederick and Howard and Montgomery. It's very expensive to live there, and they want to get into Carroll County, and the houses aren't that much cheaper, but some of the other things are. I think Commissioner Kyler kind of just alluded to this. That's a great question. I don't know if there's a really great answer to your question, but while we're having that conversation, we also need to talk about how we incentivize people to stay. And I've had conversations about this already where we don't want our fire, police, and EMS folks to leave Carroll County because they can't afford it. So maybe we start there with offering incentives for people to stay in Carroll County. And let's not forget that part of the equation.
I see an arm in the back.
Yeah, Becky Timms again. I also live in Carroll County and I work in Carroll County. I live in Harney, which is this country suburb of Tawnytown. Tawnytown has a catch-22. There is, I'm sure people know the farm out there that infrastructure. The roads, the water, that's the big thing, because if they are incorporated into Tawny Town City, the water doesn't support it. So someone mentioned developers. I think that would be a solution if you got the developers to pay for the infrastructure.
I can, well, that's an interesting point, but we also have to remember too is that developers pay for certain kinds of infrastructure, but when you talk about infrastructure, you're also talking about adequate facilities and making sure that there's enough law enforcement, fire, and EMS, and all these other things that go into supporting a community. And while a developer might be able to pay for, say, the paving of a road, they can continue to finance law enforcement and fire and EMS. And so there's, again, going back to Commissioner Rothstein's wise words about balance, there is always a balance to be maintained. We can certainly work with developers to try to see the kinds of houses that we want, but beyond the actual construction of that development and the impact fees that we receive, there's not too much more beyond that that can be done to have the developer continue to finance the area. And the other difficulty is that when you do have an impact fee, these fees are supposed to be spent on capital and non-recurring projects. So that, when you do build 350 new houses and you have to hire a couple of additional police officers, you can't use the money that comes from the construction of these new houses to continue to finance more positions. You can't do it at all because you have to be able to account for recurring costs, and you have to be able to generate the revenue to meet those recurring costs, and unfortunately that does not come from developers.
Could you get them to extend the normal period that they cover?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by extending the normal period that they cover.
Let's say they often cover 3 years of infrastructure, road repaving, and water needs. Can you extend that?
Well, typically what happens is that if you have a development that's constructed, there's a checklist of items that have to be agreed upon to release surety bonds to the developer. The cities, the municipalities, the county will hold bonds so that if the developer goes broke, the county or the municipality is not left holding the bag. It has happened in the past. And so what happens is that these checklists are releasing those surety bonds. The checklists are dependent upon the completion of those checklist items, and that may last over the course of a couple of years. We're not able to say, well, we want you to maintain the road for the next 5 years. Once the letters of credit and everything are released to the developers, the county and/or the municipality will end up taking responsibility for those roads. So it's not like the developer wants to move on to the next development that they're working on. So it's not like we can prolong or extend the amount of time and the responsibilities that the developer has. These, of course, all fall under the developer rights and responsibilities agreements as well, which are put into place when the development begins. So you couldn't say, okay, well, you're going to do a final grading on all of these, or paving on all of these roads, and then at the end of the construction project, we come back in and say, well, we want you to do it for another 3 years. Regrettably, it just doesn't happen that way legally, ethically. It doesn't happen that way either. So again, going back to what Commissioner Rothstein wisely said, it really is a balance of trying to find what are the community's needs, and what Commissioner Kyler said as well, talking about well, what kind of uses do residents in an area want to see. And of course, this goes back to something that everybody has mentioned up here at some point, that's seeing what residents of the community want to see as well. It is an excellent question, and they're excellent ideas. But again, it just comes down to being able to maintain the quality of the services that are provided or that have to be accounted for when a new development goes into effect.
And it is a excellent comment, really very well said, Commissioner Vigliotti but the question is, you're looking for revenue. You're looking for, okay, what other ways can we bring funds in and resources into the community to do the things we want to accomplish? And folks talk about impact fees often. And I won't say it's it can be a complicated way of looking at impact fees, or complicated explanations when it comes to looking at impact fees. They were looking at impact fees because they're used for schools. Well, in order to use them for schools, we have to show that the schools are overcrowded, and it's not just in one area, but the entire county, and that's why we stood up, we being the county, the Board of Education actually, and CCPS, the redistricting committee. and has done a great job in looking at that and a lot of hard work into that on what makes best sense. And it's very, very difficult, but it wasn't, people were saying, oh, just use impact fees to fund. And it wasn't as simple as that because, you know, it's kind of like that water balloon. You fix an area over here, and then you squeeze, and all of a sudden you got a problem over there. And you got to look at the entire county as a whole when you're looking at impact fees and things of that nature. So.
And actually, to add to that point, that the other difficulty is that impact fees are typically one-time things. So once the county or the municipality uses those, they're gone. And so that's why you have to be able to account for recurring revenue for areas that need them.
Yep.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and I know the gentleman in the back had a question, so you will be our last question.
Brian Bach, I think I'm District 3, but I'm not sure, so you guys have to tell me. First, a comment and then a question. Comment is thank you guys for your service. I know this is a labor of love, it's a lot of effort, but thanks for your service and thanks for this event. I sit on the board of Carroll Food Sunday and grateful for the support of many people in this room. We recently did a survey of our clients. We said, let's ask them what they think about what we're doing and what would we do better. And I've got some great feedback from 280 people. We feed about 400 people a week. Our neighbors get food from 3 different locations, Tawnytown, Westminster, and Elderbrook. And so I suggested, I'm new on the board, I suggested we do a survey. We did. And got some good feedback. But one of the things that struck me, 2 things struck me. One is that we can't do much about is rising food prices and pushing our neighbors really hard. And secondly, no one took Carroll Transit. Not a single person, and 280 people was using the transit system. And I was just struck. They were borrowing cars, friends, a lot of bicycles, lots of different ways. And so it's more of a comment and maybe to throw it out there as a open question about Carroll Transit and how it can best serve some of the more marginalized people in our community. Because I felt like I was really struck that I asked about public transportation, not a single person out of 281 used Carroll Transit. So, but anyway, thank you for that question. I'll just leave it with you all for you to think about and any response if you have.
Well, over the last year, we've been looking at the public transit, and we looked at it actually over the last few years with COVID and post-COVID, looking at the routes, what routes make best sense. We have a strong team that looks at it, that is in charge of presenting it to us because it can be expensive, and well, not can be, it is expensive. So you want to put the routes where the routes make sense, and you want to be as efficient as possible. We have, determined that certain routes did not make sense, and we've cut back on those routes. But it is out there, and your point's well taken. I think the real message or point has to be the marketing of it. How can we do better at marketing and what's available? Because I'm so proud of what we do with food, the Food Sunday programs and all these type of programs. So how can we work with you and those type of programs in marketing our transportation to meet those needs if they want to take them, But yeah, that's been a moving target with the transportation. But Stacy Nash is in charge under our DPW, and they do a great job coming to us with what makes sense. But I think the marketing is really what you're looking at more than anything else. So, sure.
Okay. I think it's your turn. I want to thank each of you for being here today. It has been an excellent program. Thank you to the audience who asked great questions. That's always a nice way to make things more fun, if you will. At this time, my partner in crime, Brady Chapman, is going to join us on the stage. I feel like it needs a song. Go ahead, Tom.
I thought we were working on dramatic entrances this morning with Brady.
Yay!
There he is.
Okay. We are going to hand out some awards. We good over here? Yep. You go from the left? Okay, cool. So the chamber has 18 directors on our board, and a director can only serve for 6 consecutive years before we gently give them the boot. The Chamber Board of Director Boot Awards are being presented today. Actually, we only have one. Unfortunately, Sharon McLaren of Carroll Hospital could not be with us, but we are fortunate to have with us Lisa Diggets of Carroll Occupational Health. And so, Lisa, if you will join me so I can give you the boot. I took it out so there was. Everybody see the beautiful boot? The glass boot. It's a bougie boot. Lisa, thank you so much for everything you've done.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
You're a
Thank
bougie
you,
glass
sir.
boot.
Thank you, I love it. Thank you so much.
All right, Brady, this is it. This is the end of the Val era, and I am handing it over to Brady, and with that, I give you the gavel, and I am excited for both you and me.
And in honor of Val, we would like to give her the real gavel for Chairman of the Board, 2022. Awesome. Yep. Okay, so that concludes our event today. Certainly, thank you, Val. Thank you, commissioners, for joining us. Carroll Arts Council, our sponsors. I look forward to serving as chair of the chamber this coming year. We have a lot of good events on schedule and more to be scheduled, so I hope to see everybody there. Just a quick note, we do have a QR code on your way out and in the lobby to take a quick survey. If you can all grab your phone, take it out. It's a couple questions. It'll certainly help us make things better. Again, I want to thank everybody, and the meeting is adjourned.